It's another incredible week of gaming on the show. Also a bit of a Game Pass festival. We're going to be slicing and dicing as a new ninja. We play as a lighthouse in a new game. We're a galactic force for good in a cheeky sci-fi adventure. And we get to see some of the demons that haunted Bruce Springsteen. Welcome to Reviews on the Run. All right, you guys, we got lots to get into today. We're going to start with the hacking and slashing action of Ninja Gaiden 4. This is made by Platinum Games in partnership with Team Ninja, two incredible action studios with such amazing pedigree behind them. So many incredible games, some of my favorite games of all time. And this is like a match made in heaven for me. It's almost as if they said, what two companies could work together to make Vic incredibly happy? Oh my God, that was awesome. And that's exactly what these two companies have done. Ninja Gaiden 4 is a freaking blast. It's also very much in the vein of what we used to play on the original Xbox and the PlayStation 3. It feels like it's from an era. It's not one of these Souls-like experiences. It's not trying to outgun Neo or something like that. And recently we've had some extraordinary action games that have taken great influence from this era. Games like Stellar Blade or Black Myth Wukong, two great examples. But this one harkens back to what it felt like to play as Ryu Hayabusa in Ninja Gaiden 1 and Ninja Gaiden 2, which I played on the original Xbox. This one I played on the Xbox Series X thanks to Game Pass, and it plays beautifully. It runs super fluidly. The action is incredible. You are zipping and flying all over the place. You're a new ninja who gets caught up in this demonic firestorm of madness. I can't even really convey what the story is about. It's crazy. But demons attack and guys in stormtrooper outfits attack, and there's martial arts madness in every freaking direction. You're gonna be hacking and slashing, and heads are popping everywhere. Limbs come off, people get ripped in half. You're a speedy little guy named Yakumo, and you've got some skills, man. You start off the game with a couple of blades, and you are just like a blender, just going in there, just making some tomato juice, just spraying it all over the frickin' place. And it's so ridiculously fun. Of course, there are some new weapons that you pick up along the way, and that changes the strategy a little bit. You've also got a bunch of buddies that will help you. They'll sell you items. They will sell you new battle techniques and help you train with them. And I recommend that you do train with them. When I was streaming this game, I didn't spend a lot of time, in fact, no time, learning the special moves. And those come in handy, especially when you're fighting some of the bosses, because they're tough and you're gonna have to go at it again and again. But you know what? Platinum Games and Koei Tecmo want people to play this game. And so they've added in difficulty choices. So you don't have to play it at the most hardcore setting. You can dip down when you hit a boss fight that becomes a bottleneck for you. I had to do that on the stream, all right, I confess. But then the normal difficulty is actually manageable, and I was getting through bosses. I played it on the stream for many hours, and then I played it on my big screen TV, and I noticed a little bit more of the flaws when I wasn't streaming it, wasn't broadcasting it. I was just sort of taking it in. I could see that some of the cut sequences don't render quite as nicely, I think, as what we actually play in the game, because it's so freaking fast. Especially when you hit that run button and the run animation and you're sliding under the obstructions and things like that. There's also all of these very cool, but also overutilized sequences where you're either flying through the air or you're grinding on rails, and it's a bit of a cheat to kind of load in the next stage, but it also breaks things up a little bit. It's never not kinetic. That's the one thing that I will say about Ninja Gaiden 4. It's just coming at you. It's a little linear, you know, it's maybe not as mystical and ethereal as something like Black Myth Wukong. It doesn't have maybe quite that sort of Souls-like flexibility in its combat structure. You are parrying, and there are moves to be made by dodging and knocking an opponent's attack at the precise right moment, and then you can decapitate them and stuff. Nobody's going to confuse this with Sekiro or anything like that, but it feels like Ninja Gaiden, man. It just feels like what it felt like to be the badass Ryu Hayabusa. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but the game is freaking great, and it's an awesome addition to Game Pass. I think if you love Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2, and rest in peace Tomonobu Inagaki, thank you for your incredible games. If you loved them like I did, you're going to have a blast with this game, and you should definitely be checking it out. I'm going to give Ninja Gaiden 4 an 8.5 out of 10. Something else I was delighted to stream this week, and it's available on Game Pass, is called Keeper. This is from Double Fine, makers of Psychonauts and Brutal Legend. This is a collection of creative people that work at this company that are very good at being a little quirky with their game ideas and their story ideas and their concepts. This is an interesting tale of a lighthouse that is anthropomorphized, and it befriends this little bird that sits on top of it, and you utilize their symbiotic relationship to puzzle solve your way on this sprawling epic journey. It is gorgeous. The world building is amazing. It looks like it's made out of clay and it's been animated for a feature film or something. Like, it really is some breathtaking work. It reminded me a little bit of playing Herdling not too long ago, which I also enjoyed, but I felt like there was more satisfaction in the progress and the progression in this game and the ways that I was working through it and solving puzzles and things. It wasn't like it was an extraordinarily difficult game. It's not really about combat. It's more about toggling the right switches and activating things and bringing the world back to life in some interesting ways. And there are also some interesting transformations that start to happen as these two characters continue along on their journey, which I won't spoil here. I had so much fun getting lost in this game. I think it's an absolute treasure. It's also a perfect fit on Game Pass, which is crowded with big AAA titles right now. This is a very big time for Microsoft, obviously trying to prove that the service, the subscription service, is worth the dollars that they're asking for it. But it's games like this that I think really justify that price, because we don't all have time to play every single AAA thing. But this one isn't one of those long games. You can jump in and play it over 6 hours or something like that. It is beautiful, though. Very impressed with Keeper. Love the music, love the animation, love the character design, and it's just unique kind of qualities. You guys definitely have to check this out. I'm giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. I had a chance to stream EA Sports FC 26 on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I was very much looking forward to playing this game on this platform. I wanted to see if we were taking that big leap into kind of next-gen sports with the FC franchise on this platform, like we saw with Madden NFL 26. I was absolutely blown away by how that game looked, ran, and played on Switch 2 hardware. So I was kind of expecting a little more, I have to be honest, out of FC 26 on Switch 2. Now, everything is included, all the features. If you like the Ultimate Team stuff, you can go in there. If you guys watch my reviews, you know I'm not into that stuff. I don't dig the microtransactions pretty much in any game, and I'm not into card collecting or anything like that. You can create a career, and you can go through the process of becoming a specialist in a specific role on your team, on the field, which is pretty cool. And you're being judged and assessed in real time, which is always cool to see, whether you're making mistakes or doing things correctly. And then, of course, there are all the other modes as well. You can just jump into some quick matches. There's this rush mode, which gives you a 5-on-5 match, which was a lot of fun. I wish EA would actually embellish that a little bit more. I know that they play with the arcade ideas in different years with this franchise and back in the FIFA days as well. We all miss FIFA Street, EA Sports. We miss FIFA Street. It would be fun if you added more of us getting lost in these urban environments like you used to do with FIFA Street. It'd be really cool in this game. But there is a lot. I mean, you've got other arcade modes in there as well, like a mode called Mystery Ball, where the ball gives the players certain properties every time it comes into play after a score or it goes out of bounds or something, which is pretty cool. There's also a mode where only headers will count as scores, which is going to train you on how to implement those moves when you're playing the game for real. And of course, you can jump into all kinds of online modes. There's a franchise mode, and there are tons of leagues from around the world. It's loaded with the cool world music that this franchise is famous for, and the character animations and the character faces and stuff look pretty damn good. I did notice some aliasing in the background. It runs at 30 frames per second on the field, which I did notice. I wish it had a bit more of a silky, smooth kind of quality when you're running it on television, but when you're running the game in handheld, it's not a big deal at all because there's VRR support on the Nintendo Switch 2, so it kind of smooths out those frames in handheld mode, which is cool. It is a robust game. It is fun to play. It feels fantastic to score. I was playing at various difficulty levels and noticed that if I went up to Legendary AI, it was kicking my butt, which is the right way to do it, but I was doing pretty good. I was holding my own against the AI. I never got into any online matches, so I can't really judge the game on that front, mostly because I'm terrified of getting my butt kicked from the diehards that play this franchise year after year. But again, here's another sports title that's loaded with content that I had a lot of fun with. The one thing that I would say, though, to EA Sports is when you're playing on a handheld capable machine like the Nintendo Switch 2, I think there should be more effort to script things down so that things load a lot quicker. You shouldn't be waiting on this platform. And maybe, you know, you take out some of the features or you take out some of the nice presentation stuff. The menus were a little bit confusing as well in this game. Like, I wanted to change the difficulty mid-match and I couldn't figure that out, and I wanted to change the weather and it took me a little bit of time to navigate through everything. And I think that comes from overloading this software with all kinds of choice, which is a good thing. But I think in some ways it's maybe perhaps a little too complex for its own good. Now, I'm saying that, and I am acutely aware of how successful and popular this franchise is and how important it is for Electronic Arts. But I had a good time with this game. It's definitely not my favorite sports game of the year. I've had a lot more fun with other sports titles, but it's still a pretty cool fit on Nintendo Switch 2. I am hoping that we get 60 frames and snappier menus next year. I'm gonna give FC 26 for Switch 2 a 7 out of 10. Let's talk about the new Bruce Springsteen movie that's out there, which is a wild concept to me, I have to be honest. It's called Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere. It stars Jeremy Allen White from The Bear, which is a show that I love, and Jeremy Strong from Succession, which is another show that I love. But Jeremy Strong has been bopping in all kinds of movies and TV shows, and he goes full method, you know, he sort of disappears into his roles. Not so much Jeremy Allen White, who we know so much, and the camera's so tight on him in The Bear, and we know all of his mannerisms, his little shaking of the head move thing that he does, you know, when he's really stressed out. And boy, is he stressed out as Bruce Springsteen. This is a specific story written and directed by Scott Cooper, based on the making of the album Nebraska, which was done in a very different way. Bruce Springsteen was on the rise. He'd had some hit albums out there. People were starting to recognize him, but he was still committed to living in New Jersey. They visit the Stone Pony, which is something that I used to read about in Rolling Stone profiles. Got a huge Springsteen fan. I actually saw the Born in the USA tour. That was one of the concerts I went to when I was younger, and I was blown away, man. The guy put on the best show. It was awesome. And so I was excited to see this, but I've also thought it was a little bit strange because Springsteen is still a very vital performer. He's still touring. He's making albums. He's making, you know, concert video tours and things like that. And it felt like, why are we doing like your biopic already? You know, it's a bit strange. Plus, seeing Springsteen and Jeremy Allen White do all the press together, and they're on the carpet together, and he's watching this guy play himself on set. I mean, all of it just feels a little too much. It felt like a little bit too grossly self-promotional. And honestly, I went on that journey with this movie. For a big chunk of it, I was thinking, wow, I mean, they're just framing this guy so he looks badass in his leather jackets and his kind of his pout, and he's cold, and he's just tortured by the writing process, and we're seeing how hard it is for him to just, you know, connect with his work, and he's got a very specific thing that he hears in his head that he wants relayed in the record, and he's feeling some pushback from the record label, and that was okay, but it was like, okay, this feels a little bit surface. And then the movie kind of pivots into a little bit more of the personal issues that Bruce Springsteen was dealing with as he was putting this together, and it wrecked me, man. Like, it wrecked me. I was watching, tears were welling up in my eyes, and there's some really, really powerful stuff in this film. There's a lot of surface level kind of cheesiness with this, and part of it is because Springsteen is like, he's right there, you know? He's never left prominence. He's on talk shows all the time. We hear his music all the time. I'll forever be a fan, but he's like right there. And so it just feels like they're making a commercial about how cool he was when he was younger. But then it gets real. And I really appreciated that. I also appreciated the filmmaking. Scott Cooper knows how to use some black and white photography in this film to tell some early day stuff with Springsteen. And everything looked great, sort of from the period perspective as well. The haircuts, the clothes, what the musicians were playing and having fun with on stage. It's definitely a cool movie. I don't know if this is one that you need to rush out to see in the theaters, though. And I did have some pretty major problems with it for a big chunk of time. I'm going to give Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere, 7 out of 10. Xbox has been on a tear recently with Game Pass. They've got to convince people that the service is worth it. There's a lot of people that have major doubts about that, but maybe they won't have big doubts about that if they play The Outer Worlds 2. This is from Obsidian Entertainment. I think this is the third game they've released this year which is a remarkable achievement, especially because this game is fantastic. Oh my God. I really enjoyed The Outer Worlds 1, and I think one of my favorite things about the game is that it appreciated and respected how busy people were to play video games of this scope and scale. And Outer Worlds 1, like Outer Worlds 2, are really made for you to jump into the experience, get into the storytelling, play through it, and then play it again, and twist and change some of your choices, and the way that you encounter people and the dialogue trees that you're going to have is really fun, really well written. This time, obviously, they've had years to kind of craft this, and it's gorgeous. Like, there are some beautiful vistas. I love the planet hopping, and the environments look totally different. I could have used a little bit more alien life, not necessarily No Man's Sky level, but I could have used some more creatures and things popping out of bushes and stuff. It felt like we got about 2 or 3 species per planet or something, and you saw lots of replications of that. You're also going to encounter a lot of robots and stuff that will attack you, a lot of military people or culty type people that are going to come after you. But you get entrenched in a big revenge tale at the beginning, and it's got some nice twists and turns, and then you see that there's a wider story, and it gets a lot bigger, and you're jumping from world to world, and you're helping people out, and you're trusting some people, not trusting others, and you're just sort of swept up in it. And what you're realizing is that you're getting all of this stuff, and it's like bam, 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 bam. And I just love that this game is like appreciating that there is a lot to play right now. So it does not waste your time, and it delivers on the goods. The gunplay is pretty fun, the stealth is pretty fun. The baddies are a little bit dumb, like it's pretty easy to confuse them. When you're in stealth mode, they get, oh, I guess they're gone. I guess I misheard that. We hear that all the time in video games. That pops up a little bit too quickly in here. All the guards are a little dumb in this, but it's fun to melt them. It's fun to shoot this acidy stuff on them and just watch them squirm and scream, or you can burn them if you want to. Of course, you've got shotguns and all kinds of really cool weaponry, and you've got mods that you can equip onto your guns and your armor and your helmet, and there are all kinds of collectibles for you to go and discover. Lots of secrets, a lot of secret doors and traps and things like that along the way. And you've got colleagues that can join you as you go on these expeditions and try to complete these missions and get further and further into the story. And you can mix and match. You can decide which of these colleagues that you want to take out with you, which made the game feel a little Mass Effect-like. And so it's an interesting hybrid of what Obsidian has done, working with that kind of Bethesda model, but also we've got a little BioWare kind of vibe in the Outer Worlds too. And aesthetically, it looks really freaking good. Love the music as well, and the voice work is fantastic. Characters will absolutely make you laugh out loud, and there's some pathos and there's some urgency. It's a nice balance of being a little cheeseball and a little silly, but also earnest as well. So it's a nice collection of different states and vibes to get you sucked into the experience and want to complete it and want to see what's around the next corner. What are you going to see on the next world that you jump to? I have been having so much freaking fun with The Outer Worlds 2. I am so impressed by Obsidian as well. What a company, what an incredible acquisition on the part of Xbox. This was a very smart play. What a great addition to Game Pass if you have Game Pass. I absolutely recommend it. It's worth picking up if you don't, but definitely check this out, especially if you've been hankering for a Fallout experience. And I know Fallout 4 is coming back pretty soon for a lot of players, and the Fallout TV show is coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an Outer Worlds TV show out of this. This is a very cool franchise now. I'm going to give The Outer Worlds 2 a 9 out of 10. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Reviews on the Run. Thank you so much for watching me here, but also watching our live streams throughout the week. I have a lot of fun with those, so jump in and join the community. And thank you for subscribing to the channel, hitting the thumbs up, and sharing our vids. Appreciate that so much. We will see you soon, and until then, play forever.